Well, a WWL investigation has uncovered questionable spending for travel by 2 Jefferson Parish School Board members.
The board members who live in Gretna and Kenner charged taxpayers for hotel rooms at a luxury hotel right here in downtown New Orleans. Investigative reporter Mike-Perlstein confronted the board members to find out why they needed hotel rooms not far from their homes.
Jefferson Parish School Board member Ricky Johnson lives in Gretna. The Roosevelt Hotel in downtown New Orleans is one of the city's highest-rated luxury hotels, complete with spa, rooftop swimming pool, and the Sazerac bar. For Johnson to drive from his house to the Roosevelt, about 5.5 miles, takes about 16 minutes, even with traffic. The hotel was a convenient place to stay for officials who flew into town to attend the Council of Urban Boards of Education conference, which was hosted at the nearby Ritz-Carlton. But for 3 days and nights, it also was home to Johnson. Instead of driving to the conference each day, he stayed at the hotel at a cost to taxpayers of $215 a night. I just wanted to know about why you saw fit to stay at an expensive hotel in New Orleans at a recent conference when you live just miles away.
I didn't pick the hotel, but what happened was this. Being a pastor, it's really hard to get together and be away from my congregation. When they know I'm in the city, it's really hard for them not to reach out to me.
As far as congregants getting in touch with you, I'm sure you have a cell phone. They can get in touch with you that way.
But it's a difference. When you see your pastor call at home and you got something going on, you come and knock on the door, you coming by, whatever.
Johnson wasn't the only Jefferson representative at the conference. Longtime board member Cedric Floyd, who lives in Kenner, also attended and also stayed at the Roosevelt. But you just attended a conference in New Orleans, but you saw fit to stay at an expensive New Orleans hotel rather than just drive in each day. Why?
Well, because they had an 8 o'clock meeting and early morning meetings throughout the conference.
The hotel wasn't the only expense. Valet parking at the Roosevelt cost more than $50 a day, pushing the full tally for 2 Jefferson Parish board members to attend a 3-day conference in New Orleans to more than $1,600. Pretty expensive valet parking, over $50.
But remember this, over $50
for your valet parking right here. Would you like to see that?
But listen, that's the hotel they put me in.
Actually, the conference was held at the Ritz-Carlton. Because they registered late, Johnson and Floyd were put in the Roosevelt, the spillover hotel. But they weren't the only Jefferson representatives. School Superintendent Isaac Joseph also attended and drove in each day. He found parking at the Ritz for $20 a day.
You know, it was just across the river for me, so I typically don't stay in hotels for local conferences.
Several other board members were shocked at the expense. 2 cited the school board policy that provides reimbursement only for travel outside the metro area. State government also follows this policy.
Extremely disappointing, especially because Mr. Floyd champions himself as an expert on board policy and state law, and this is a clear violation of both, where he's personally gaining at taxpayer expense.
It's totally unbelievable to me. I can't believe that they actually did that. 17th Street Canal isn't that hard to cross.
Floyd, who has served 2 different stretches on the board covering almost 18 years, defended spending the money for the local conference.
It was within policy, the conference was there, and I could make it to the 8 o'clock.
This policy says you get compensation for conferences outside of the New Orleans metropolitan area. I think New Orleans is in the New Orleans metropolitan area.
I don't know about that, but...
Your policy?
Well, guess what? Haven't seen it, but what I'm saying is that I stayed there because I had early morning meetings and I could make it.
Floyd later emailed me another school board policy that allows reimbursement for travel to board meetings and other local duties that require driving outside of Jefferson. That policy says nothing about overnight hotel expenses, but Floyd noted that the entire board was reimbursed for a hotel in Covington in July. That retreat covered 2 nights, but it was also considered mandatory. 2018 board president Mark Morgan said whether it's New Orleans or Covington or out of state, common sense should dictate travel. Based on Channel 4's findings, he said he will propose some changes.
I can tell you there's a troubling history with some board members on the amount of spending that was done on traveling. That's certainly something I'm going to look to address with my fellow board members as the incoming president.
Mike-Perlstein, Eyewitness News.
While some board members were critical of their colleagues staying at a pricey hotel in a neighboring parish, that represents just one conference expense now under board scrutiny.
In the second part of our series, Mike reveals the total travel expenses by each board member over the past 3 years, including flight upgrades and luxury hotels.